Sources tell CNN President Trump is planning large-scale cuts to California's federal funding. I want to go now to CNN's Annie Greer, who's on Capitol Hill, watching this development for us. Annie, we're told some of these cuts could begin as soon as today. What are you learning?
Well, Jessica, we're told that agencies have already started preparing what cuts they can make, and this has also made its way to Capitol Hill, where a whistleblower informed a committee that they're expecting cuts to all of the federal research grants in California. Now, we've also recently heard back from the administration, who said that no final decision has been made here, but there are also consideration for cuts specifically to the UC California school system. So there are a lot of questions swirling about the size and scope of the cuts here, but there is a lot of concern because this would be a pretty rare move to single out just California here.
And yeah, what's the motivation here? What's going on?
Well, there are a lot of politics swirling around this, and of course there is no love lost between President Trump and Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom. I mean, just recently, Trump threatened to pull all federal funding from California after an incident with a transgender athlete in a sporting event. And beyond that, California has been targeted over cutting water construction projects recently. As I reported, over $100 million funding cut there. And Trump has been very critical of California's response to the devastating wildfires that we saw. And just the long, bitter history between Trump and Newsom here really can't be understated. So everyone is watching to see exactly what the administration does, but we are hearing from sources across the government that this is being prepared and potentially underway.
Donald Trump is threatening to defund California, but it's Econ 101. California is a donor state. We provide over $80 billion more in tax revenue to the federal government than the federal government provides to the people of the state of California. We help pay federal bills. So if Donald Trump's going to continue to threaten 40 million Americans that live in California, maybe we should consider withholding those resources.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about Gavin Newsom issuing empty threats towards President Trump because President Trump has moved to defund California over the fact that they're not complying with, for example, his executive orders regarding biological boys and girls sports. Okay, they're not complying with that. Also, California is wasting a bunch of taxpayer dollars on things that they should not be wasting taxpayer dollars on, like illegal immigrants and their woke projects that go nowhere, right? Like the high-speed rail project that they spent millions and billions of dollars on that they haven't built yet, okay? And at this point, President Trump is like, you know what? We're going to start the process of defunding California, okay? Because they do not deserve these federal dollars. They're not complying. So therefore, we're going to do something about it. Now, Gavin Newsom is in a full-blown panic because he has essentially threatened to withhold funds from the federal government. Now, I'm going to explain to you guys why this is an empty threat. Like, this just can't happen. Like, there's no way that this can happen. I mean, this is like the Constitution 101. But Gavin Newsom thinks that his followers, his constituents, are ignorant. So he's basically issuing empty threats towards the president that, again, he cannot execute on. Okay, I'm going to explain to you guys why. But first, I want to go ahead and play this clip so everybody can get a good understanding of what's happening here and the threats that President Trump and Gavin Newsom are making towards each other when it comes to withholding funds. So without further ado, let's get into it.
President Donald Trump is reportedly preparing to sweep large-scale funding from California, and in response, the governor has floated cutting off billions in California tax dollars from the federal government.
Yeah, this is something. We need to go live right now to KCRA3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala in the studio here, tracking this right now. What's going on and what eventually this could mean for all of us?
In Golston, at the moment, we don't know exactly what this large-scale sweep of funding means or what the president plans to cut exactly from California. CNN is reporting the president has directed federal agencies to start identifying grants the administration can withhold from the state. Governor Newsom's Department of Finance tells us the federal government provides California with about $170 billion in grants for a variety of programs. That ranges from school lunches, unemployment benefits, education, transportation, research, and other environmental programs, for example. Governor Newsom posted on X this afternoon, quote, Californians pay the bills for the federal government. We pay over $80 billion more in taxes than we get back. Maybe it's time to cut that off. After the governor posted this, Newsom's Department of Finance spokesman H.G. Palmer sat down with me for an interview. Here's what Palmer had to say about what's going on.
So the governor also tweeted this afternoon in part, we pay over $80 billion more in taxes than we get back. Maybe it's time to cut that off, and then tagged the president in this post on X. I mean, is that something that California could logistically do?
I think the governor in his tweet was making a very clear point. This isn't a one-way transaction. We've got nearly 18 million tax return filed in California, as much or many more with the federal government. And because of our wealth, because of our strength, because of our tech-based economy, we contribute mightily to the federal government and the nation's revenue source. So what the governor, I think, was suggesting in this tweet and making it very clear is that you may suggest and talk a tough game about taking away dollars, but if you really want to go down this road, let's have a serious discussion about how much California contributes to the national economy and to the national treasury in terms of the amount of tax dollars that Californians pay to the federal government.
AKA no, right? No. And this is why he didn't really answer the question directly, right? He basically talked about, well, let's have a conversation about how much tax dollars California contributes to the federal government, because that's the only thing they can do. The only thing they can do is have a conversation, right? Because federal supremacy, right, under the U.S. Constitution, right, the supremacy clause, federal law trumps any conflicting state law, right? And California cannot legally nullify or refuse to collect federal taxes. And in fact, when you talk about how federal taxes are withheld and paid by individuals and businesses, California's role is minimum, right? I mean, you have the federal government collecting the taxes directly, right? The IRS collects the taxes directly from the payers, the employers, the banks, and also if California had essentially passed a law forbidding the collection or remittance of IRS payments, the Department of Justice would immediately sue, and the federal courts would definitely side with the federal government, right? They would essentially force the state to comply, right? And also on top of that, again, even if California refused cooperation, the IRS has the independent authority to levy wages, bank accounts, and liens on property, basically bypassing the state. The federal government also can seize assets, federal assets, and contracts in the state. They also can impose penalties on California as well, too. So, you know, again, if they want to go down this route, it's just not going to end up well for them because, again, just in the Constitution, federal supremacy. Now, if they don't like it, they can succeed. And I'm at the point now where I'm totally fine with that, right? I'm totally fine with that. At first, I was like, nah, I don't think so, right? But now, you know, in 2025, seeing how crazy these people are in some of these blue states, you know what? If they want to leave, F them, right? That's how I feel at this point. If they want to dip, let them leave, okay? I don't care, okay? Take you and your money, go, right? I don't want it anymore, okay? I think at this point, it might just be best for us to go our separate ways, okay? Me personally, I don't go to California that much. I've only been like maybe 3 times, okay? And I don't plan on going that much. I don't go to New York that much. I don't go to blue states that much, right? If you see me, it is likely that you're going to see me in a red state, okay? I have not found a compelling reason to travel to these blue states. I think we're going to be fine, right? I think, you know, we got Texas, we got Florida, we got Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, okay? Maybe even Arizona and Nevada, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, right? I think we're good, right? I think we're good. And the rest of the Midwest, we're good, right? We're good. We don't need these blue states, to be honest with you, okay? I'm at the point now where I'm like, you know what? Let's put this theory to the test, right? Since these blue states believe that we're so dependent on them, which we're not, okay? But let's put it to the test. If they want to leave, if they want to go, right, fine, right? Go, okay? I'm cool with that. Because I think that we'll be good on our own, okay? We are totally fine, right? We can support ourselves, okay? So, you know, I'm getting to the point now with these liberal states, okay, and their refusal to comply with the federal government, their refusal to actually enforce federal immigration law, going out of their way to obstruct the federal government. Again, if they want to be their own country, maybe that's the best solution at this point. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying, maybe that's where we're at in this country, okay? I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm getting to the point now where I think that may be the solution here, okay? Maybe we're not quite there yet, but I'm just saying, it seems like we're getting there.
Does the Newsom administration have a sense of what these sweeping federal cuts could entail?
In a word, none. And that's because the only thing that has come from Washington about this so far is a lot of unattributed quotes and statements of intent, but no numbers, no spreadsheets, nothing real that you could actually analyze. So at this point, it's a lot of rhetoric with not a lot to back it up. That's not to say that the administration may not come down later today or in the next few days to put out something that they think, fulfills what they're talking about here. I think this is just, another inning in a very long game that has been going on since the beginning of the year. The governor and elected officials, the attorney general, among others, have made it very clear that we're not going to back down from our values. If there's a threat to California, we're going to stand up to it.
Now, when I asked Palmer if this could be the beginning of yet another lawsuit between California and the Trump administration, he noted it is Congress, not the president, that has the power to decide how money moves. But this blocked funding could present yet another financial challenge for California, which is already trying to deal with the state budget shortfall in the billions of dollars this year.
Now, again, why do they have a state budget shortfall? It's because they're using their money on crazy stuff, right? Like illegal immigrants and woke projects that build bridges to nowhere, right? That is why they are facing a shortfall. So, when you think about it, at this point, like I said, it might just be best to just go our separate ways, okay? When it comes to these blue states. Who knows, okay? But what Gavin Newsom is talking about here, it's an empty threat. Essentially, the federal government has all the advantage when it comes to leveraging federal dollars, right? The states essentially can't do anything, okay, except sue, right, or to take it up in court, okay, or to lobby Congress. That's the only thing that California can do. The fact that Gavin Newsom came out here and even threatened to withhold funds from the federal government is laughable. It's laughable. He's just taking advantage of the ignorance of the people, the liberals, the progressives in his state, right? Trying to play to the crowd with these empty threats. And it's just hilarious to me because when you understand that these threats are empty, that he literally can't do anything, then it's like, come on, bro. Come on, what are you doing here? This is definitely not helping your case, because if I was Gavin Newsom, I don't know, maybe I would comply. Maybe I would try to work with the president, and then you don't have to worry about this. But again, Democrats, for whatever reason, believe that the best thing for them to do at this point, when they have historic unpopularity, is just to oppose Trump, right? Let's just keep opposing Trump, right? And they think that's going to help them out. And who knows, maybe that's the only thing that they can do, because that's the only thing that they believe in at this point, right? They don't believe in anything else. They don't stand for anything else except, opposing Trump. So, at this point, it's really hilarious to watch the Democrats continue to flounder, okay? This party is going down the drain. And again, Gavin Newsom here lashing out is just him trying to play up to idiots, right, who really believe that he can do something about what President Trump is doing, right? If he chooses to withhold the funds, again, the only avenue that California has is to challenge it in court. And who knows, maybe they'll win, maybe they won't win. But in my opinion, I think the easiest route is just to work with the president instead of opposing the president and, going from there, right? I think that would be the smart thing to do. But hey, these people, again, they just hate Trump so much that they can't even agree with Trump on issues of common sense, right? Like not giving money to illegals, okay, and not having biological boys compete against biological girls in sports. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.